Okay, hello, hello. Looks like we're live. Yes? Okay, let's see. I don't have to turn that light on until later. I tried to put up a curtain, but it looks kind of bad. I don't know. Let's see. We'll work with it for now. Testing the microphone. If we can hear the puff into it, that means it's working. Last time I tested the microphone, you guys said it was working and it actually wasn't working. Hey, Buckskin, NYB, JF Baird, Stidley Designs, Brennan is here, Noah Merritt, Keith Callahan, Keefers, the eccentric Adam. Hey, hey, it was good meeting you, Adam, at the nap-in. Mac Bales is here. Howdy, howdy. Killer Cork is here. So, yes, you guys are right on time. Early, early. Also, early is on time for some people. Yeah. All right. So, there's an auction going on today. Buckskin or Marty says, "Did you get a good load of rock from the nap-in?" Yes, I did. It cost me a pretty penny too, but it was worth it. That's what I was looking for. I was looking for high grade rock and heat treat, especially, and that's what I got. And I got some high grade uh, Georgia jasper. Yes, some of my favorite stuff because it's my favorite color. It's that golden yellow. Okay. Killer Cork says, "Great looking auction tonight. Thanks. I was lucky enough to have time to nap. Yeah, I was sitting in a campsite with friends of mine. It was their campsite. They invited me to stay with them. And I had my back to the street where people would walk back and forth. So no one could see me unless I stood up and looked the other way. So I was able to do some napping without people recognizing me. Alan Cole says, "What's up? Smash the like button." Yeah, it was a very good nap in because you get to walk around and look at everybody else's stuff and look at all the stuff for sale and get ideas. And I luckily caught a archaeologist from, I guess, I don't know, I guess he was an archaeologist and he was selling casts from another archaeologist, and they're both affiliated with the Galt School in Texas. Anyway, this point is a cast. It's a plastic cast of a paleo point made in Belize. Okay. So it's a completely different design. Now it may be late paleo. I don't think it's pre-Clovis. Some people don't like the term pre-Clovis, but I don't get that. I don't understand why people don't like the term pre-Clovis because there's a bunch of stuff that's before Clovis. Anyway, this is supposedly a paleo point. I have to look into it more. I got some stats on it. I just haven't looked into it. It's got a slight twist to it, or it's been kind of beveled. See that? It's beveled in a way. Although I don't think it's resharpened. I think it's made that way. Yeah, it looks like a knife. Anything that has a stem that's wider than an inch, or basically wider than my thumb, to me is a knife blade. Yeah. So, and it has serrations, intentional serrations, but they're not put in the usual way. They're put in on a bevel. The usual way to do serrations, as far as I know, the most common way is to bifacially nap in those serrations. But this one is unifacially, these are unifacially napped in. And I think this is also done with the beveling on certain points from the middle of the country in North America. I'm trying to think maybe Kirk is done that way, where you've got serrations that are put in from one direction primarily. Now, this is bifacially flaked, But I'll show this on a video where we can see the flake scars better. Yeah, the lighting is still. I had to still work with the lighting. Now I did not do a live stream at the nap-in because I would have to bring all my lighting because it gets dark, right? So I would have to get lighting set up for the nap-in and within people's campsite. It'd be kind of rude to have all these lights and everything, and then ignore. Sorry guys, I got to ignore you for 2 hours. I got to sit right in your campsite, right in amongst you, and I have to ignore you for 2 hours on Friday night. Okay? No, I wasn't going to do that to them. Yeah, but you might say, yeah, they could have been in the live stream too. Yeah, but what if they're not crazy bonker beans like me? And they don't like being in a live stream. Yeah. Noah Merritt is here. I saw the video of you walking around at the nap-in. Yep. Good. Clint Evans is here. Hey, fellas. Who all is napping on the fine day today? Yeah, who's napping while watching this? That's a big boy point, says Killer Cork. Oh, yes. Eccentric Adam says, I was now on the way to work. Okay. So, yeah. Adam works night shift. So he's probably, he said he's on his way to work right now. I don't envy that kind of work. Clint, I just got done doing 2 knives, says Keith. Yeah. That thing is massive. Yeah, it's a pretty good size point. I mean, it's what? Where is it? I couldn't pass it up. This cast cost me $50, 50. Yeah, it's a lot of money, but I can't get them anywhere else. I have never seen these offered anywhere else. It's 4 3/4 inches long. Of course, you can't see. And then 2 1/8 wide, 4x2, 4 3/4 by 2, almost 5. So yeah, it's a pretty big point. And from Belize, and you wouldn't think that in Central America they would have stuff like this that early in the paleo era, but apparently, yeah, they were ahead of the game as far as shape goes. Sal's giveaway knife is prettier, says Alan. Well, la-di-da. Let's see. Bren says, dang, them points in the auction are nice. Looks like the Coshocton Flint Fest was great fuel. Yeah, well, I sat around and napped the whole time I was there. I was there for 3.5 days. The eccentric Adam, he says, my signal was awful too. Yeah, it took me a while to upload even those short videos. It didn't take that long, but it did take noticeably longer than it normally does here. I gotta put some kind of glasses on that prevents me from getting blasted in the eyes with this kind of light. My eyes get sore right away. Brutus says, howdy stone abusers. Alan says, you could just have let the camera roll and ignored the camera. Oh, you mean candid camera? No. Because then, we'd get up and sometimes there's nobody on the live stream, if that's the case. Clint says, that's awesome, Keith. He treated some Texas rock yesterday, so bifacing it now. Noah Merritt says, I made something out of a toilet lid yesterday, kind of that color. Yeah, this is just a plastic. See, they had other colors of they had 3 of these casts for sale, and they were different colors. I like this one because I'm able to see the flake scars without getting distracted by the colors, because the other ones had like bands of whatever colors. I like to be able to see the flake scars themselves. And you can tell this was made on a big flake because it has a lot of the original surface on this side. And it has kind of a curve to it. In a way, it's dipped in right there. So it has a lot of interesting features. Now, does it mean that all of these of this type were made in this way? No, it doesn't mean that. So don't get the impression that all of them of that type are made in the same way. They might not all be made on flakes. They might not all have that twisty type of beveling, sharpening going on. They might not all have serrations. They might not all have the serrations put in the same way. They might not have all been made with the same type of tool. Mike Mason's here. Yay. Lithic Man is here. I have to do some college stuff, but I thought I'd stop by and say hi. I'm getting some Knife River from Sal in a few days, so stay tuned for an unboxing. Awesome. Danny Moore is here. He says hi. He waves. So if you're new, I chat the first hour and then I nap the second hour. Okay, so it's 6:05. If you're just joining us, I will nap in the second hour. It's a 2-hour live stream, so you can come back in an hour if you want to see napping. But for a whole hour, I just do nothing but chat and talk about stuff and look at the comments. And once in a while, someone will ask me a question related to Flintknapping. Don Towers here. Enjoyed the week, Patrick. Yeah, I did too. It was good. It was fun. Don was in the campsite. It was basically Don and Scott and myself in that one little camping area. I don't know if Scott is able to show up, but I'm glad you're here, Don. This is awesome. Adam was here. Adam joined us also, I think, Saturday night. So it was cool. It was really cool. Next time we're going to probably have a little fire going. I'll bring the firewood. I can get all kinds of free wood, so. Jesse's here. Hey guys, I totally forgot about today's live. Feels like Sunday. Yeah, you don't have to work. You don't have to work today. Delicious mead. Yeah, Dawn makes mead. Buckskin NYB, $4.99 super chat. Comment is napping fund. Thank you. I will always very much enjoy these super chats that are devoted to a napping fund. Oh yeah. I think these glasses are a little bit shielding of the light so they don't get light burn, but it doesn't help that much. I got to figure out something to prevent my eyes from getting this light burn. I turned off the lower light. That helps a little bit. Anyways, see, I was reviewing some of my live stream videos, and I get red eyes right away. I'm looking at myself. I'm going, why don't I always get that? Well, since I've been working with lights pointed toward me, I get that. Another $4.99. Who is this? 2 $4.99 super chats from Marty. Yes? No? It comes up twice. Ed Gould says, I thought everyone was on vacation. Well, almost. Yeah. And this is going to happen again on the next time I go to a nap in. I probably won't be able to do the Friday night live stream on the next nap in either. Because I'm not going to bring all my lighting and set up in front of everybody and say, okay, well, I'm doing my live stream, so tough it out. I'm going to be talking and chatting, and these lights are going to be in everybody's face. You're probably going to have to clear out, or I'm going to have to find a secret spot. But in the Texas nap-in, there is zero reception. So I would have to go somewhere else to do the live stream. And there's nowhere else really, unless I rent a hotel room, which I'm not. I'm not going to rent the hotel room to do a live stream. Besides, it's not secure. Someone will hack into my YouTube. Jesse, $20 Super chat, Rock and Gas Fund. Thank you, thank you. That's very generous. Very generous of you, Jesse. That's awesome. Alan says, I'm working graveyard emergency tonight and tomorrow night. Oh, dang. Mike Tufts is here. Hello, hello. Yeah, Ed Gould says, new shoes for Patrick with that $20. Yeah. But I already bought new shoes, so that's going straight to the napping fund. Patrick Trousdale, hello. Marty says, how is your KRF box looking? Do you need any more? I'm going to need a little bit more soon. Like before I go to the nap-in Texas. The nap-in in Texas is in about 6 weeks. So yeah, Marty, I could use some to take with me over there. That way I can demonstrate. Alan Cole says, holy J Money Moldy. Adam says, okay, Alan, I do the same. Oh, yeah. Both you guys work the graveyard emergency shift. Ross Wellman, Jesse Marty, you guys rock. Yes, yes. Graylin Landry, good evening from Southwest Louisiana. Awesome. So, yeah, I could use some more KRF, Marty, before I go to Texas. Yeah. I think it's the third week in October is when I'm leaving. So, yeah, that'd be awesome. I will get some headed your way. Thank you, thank you. Jesse says, after the live, I'm going to notch my little point I made this morning. I need to pressure flake the Aurora pieces too. Cool. I got a box of stuff. I mean, not a box. I got like a container full of flakes. Oh, yeah. I got some gifts too. There's a lady at the nap-in that paints these. She paints the rocks. I got 2 Grinch rocks, and my other ones are up there. But yeah. I said, hey, I like those. Yeah, I always watch it. Not always. I used to watch the Grinch movie every year with the kids as often as we could. The one with Jim Carrey as the Grinch. Mm-hmm. Jesse says, there's too many friends to say hi to in the chat. Yes, there is actually. Roy says, paydays are coming up. Payday is coming up. Anyone know where I can buy slabs or spalls? Holy moly. Have you ever heard of Facebook? But from the guys in the chat, let's see. There's a few, like Danny Collins. I think he sells slabs. Anyway, the coastal plains, Alabama coastal plains chart, it looks like this in slab form. And I have the contact for this stuff. It's heat treated. I think it says 650 degrees and a check mark. AGP, which is Alabama, or ACP, Alabama coastal plains, 650 degrees Fahrenheit heat treat. And David Brown is the contact for this stuff. And if you send me an email, I'll give you his number so that you can get in contact with him and buy some slabs of this stuff. Now, how much did this go for? This goes for like $10 or something, or maybe a little bit less, depending on the quality of the material. So it's not cheap, but it's extremely colorful and it's easy to nap. But it's not for beginners because it's snap and half-ish. All right? If anything snap and half-ish is not for beginners. So that's one person that sells slabs that I can get you in contact with, but there's dozens of slab sellers and the spalls sellers. Jeff Head, I'll give you his contact information, sells slabs of Georgia coastal plains. So there's Alabama coastal plains. This is Alabama coastal plains, and this Georgia coastal plains. This particular stuff is called swirl because it's not clear like a lot of the yellow coastal plains. It's more in line with this kind of stuff. It feels chalky unless you heat it up. So this is Georgia coastal plains. This is Alabama coastal plains. Jeff Head sells this stuff, and David Brown sells this stuff. Among others, there's a lot of people selling these things. So yeah. Let's see. Roy Browski, okay for beginners? Well, snap and halfish stuff is, I mean, if you want to be tortured, yeah, it's okay for beginners. But anything snap and halfish, like low grade obsidian and a lot of the heat treats, not for beginners. You need higher grade stuff. Jesse says, who sells the slabs of heat treat picture jasper? I love that stuff. Lots of people sell that. You'll have to go to Knapping's. Some might have it, some might not. The guys that sell it usually may be out temporarily, and some guys that are never carrying picture jasper sometimes have it. It's all random. Yeah. If somebody knows who sells the best quality heat treated picture jasper, you can let Jesse know. Just be warned, it's not going to be cheap. Okay, so you might not want to get the very best. If you want to save some money, you get the lesser grade or smaller pieces to practice on. Some people say, I want the best possible sellers of the best possible chert for the best possible prices. You can only get 2 out of those 3. Okay? You want the best material from the best sellers at the best price. You can only get 2 out of those 3. Okay? If it's the best seller with the best material, it's not going to be the best price. If it's the best material and the best price, it's not going to be the best seller. Because he might not know exactly when he's going to have it. Sometimes the shipments are delayed. Sometimes they don't know how to package the shipments all that well, or they're just starting out. They're not sure how to ship, but it's a good price. Yeah. You know what I mean, right? Okay. What else we got here? Oh, I'm going to start using solid copper boppers and billets. I bought these 2 at the Knapping. Okay, I'm going to start using solid copper because I'm beating the boppers to death. Okay, I'm going to start using solid copper for billets and boppers. Okay, one of these looks like 1.25 inches. It's an 1.5 inch copper solid by 2 3/4. Okay, it felt right. I picked up a lot of different ones to see if they felt right, and I don't want a piece that's too long or too fat. This was the right diameter and the right size as far as length. And I bought this one. Now, what is this? This one is 1 inch diameter by 2 3/4. So yeah, about the same. They felt right in my hand. I ground down the ends a little bit because they had burrs on them. They were previously used. See, they got a lot of dents. These were previously used by the guy that was selling them. I guess because that's what he likes to use, or he's testing out the copper or whatever. So I just picked the ones that he was using. He had a bunch of other ones that were pre-cut. $4.99 super chat from somebody. Knapping fund. Again, Marty? Yours keeps coming up? Or is that a new one? Danny Collins sells a lot of different Flintknapping materials and tools. Adam says, I spent a lot of money on coral and Burlington, but I can nap for months. Alan Cole says small wood handle like Patrick. Let's see. Of all the boppers I made, I thought for sure those would fail, and those have held up the best. Which ones? Okay, I need to go back into here. Mm-mm-mm. Roy says, what would be good material for beginners in the form of slabs, or what would be the best napping, the best for napping a knife blade? Good material for beginners in the form of slabs, or what would be the best for napping a knife blade? Are you thinking, Roy, of doing a flake over grind with pattern flaking or random flaking? If you want to do random flaking without much effort, just use all kinds of raw stuff like hornstone, stuff you don't need to heat treat. I recommend hornstone of good quality to beginners. It's one of the best materials. You can also get amoeba chert, which is raw. Yeah, it naps well raw. You can get um, Georgia coastal plains, the stuff that Jeff Head sells. That's fairly good for beginners. Um, and all these materials can be napped raw. The ones I'm telling you about right now, the coastal plains, Georgia coastal plains, are what they call butterscotch, Flint River chert, and then any kind of hornstone of high grade and all the related stuff like Fort Payne and that kind of thing. And then the other one was amoeba cherts and related materials from Texas. There are amoeba cherts that are high grade and some are low grade, and there are lots of varieties, but they can all be napped raw. I recommend raw stuff for beginners mostly for price. Now, if price is not an object, then you can buy a variety of different slabs and see what you like. If you've got money, buy a bunch of different samples of stuff and see what you like. The one that you like the best is the best for you. What I like best might not be good. So as a beginner, if you have money, buy a bunch of different types of stone and see what you like. If you don't have money, then you've got to start thinking about, okay, what is going to be the best value for the money? And usually it's raw chert that naps well because you don't have that extra expense, or the seller doesn't have the extra expense of having to heat treat it. Slabs also have an extra labor cost. So if you get flakes, it's best. Flakes of raw, not too rare types of stone of high grade, like hornstone, amoeba cherts, and coastal plains cherts, as an example, are best. Same for anything, for arrowheads, knife blades, whatever. Yeah. Just don't get snap and halfish stuff unless you spent a lot of money and you figure out, well, this is my favorite, even though it's snap and halfish. Okay, fine. But don't get snap and halfish stuff. How do you know if it's snap and halfish? If you've napped a bunch of it and it always snaps in half, it's snap and halfish. Yeah. Well, you might say, hey, I snap everything in half. It doesn't matter if it's concrete or it's glass. Everything snaps in half. Are you thinning the ends down first? If you're not listening. I can't do anything for you. Let me see. Mike says, I saw a video on quarrying that ocean picture stone. Apparently it's in elevates. Maybe. Mike Tuft says, okay, Alan, Sal has the normal length handle, but Patrick has the shorter ones. Which do you want? Let's see. Let's see. The eccentric atom. I spent a ton of. Speaking of the bopper mic, the ones that have the replaceable caps, I did popped out the screw thing inside the handle. It popped out when I was using that one at the Knapping. So I ended up ruining that one too. But it didn't break. I mean, the wood is still intact. I'm just going to re-epoxy it back in there. So that little screw socket came out of the handle. I just need to glue that back in. I think those are the boppers you're talking about that you thought would fail right away and they haven't. Well, one of them did fail over the Knapping. At the Knapping. It has a small wood handle. Roy says, well, since I've been waiting all summer to afford some, I don't mind $10 a slab. Okay. Well, I'll give you, if you sent me an email, Roy, I'll give you David's contact number. But it's snapping halfish, right? Remember, this heat treat, this Alabama coastal plain stuff is snapping halfish. Remember, you might love it, and hopefully you'll love it even more when you end up with 2 pieces instead of 1, and you'll go, "Hey, I got 2 for 1, yay!" If that's the case, then you'll be fine. Otherwise, you can be miserable. Jesse says, how's the ocean doing? I'm milling out some copper half balls with a super thick wall so they won't cave in. When I get some done, I'll send you one. Okay. That sounds kind of interesting. I don't know what that means exactly. Brutus says, my solid copper head boppers are wearing slowly and seldom even need resurfacing. I love them. Yeah. I'm starting to like them too. Let's see. Jay Valente's here. Let's see. Oh, let's see. I'm far behind on the chat. Man, my eyes are killing me. Let's see. Wait a second. I missed a lot of the chat. I got to go way back. Okay, Marty says he only sent 1 super chat, he thinks. Okay. Mike Tuff says, thanks, Pat. I'll sleep better tonight. Don makes tater chips with notches. Yes, he does. Let's see. Roy says, a couple of websites looked and were sold out on a lot of stuff. Mac Bales is here. Try polarized sunglasses. Yeah. I have polarized sunglasses. Brutus says, I also really like my knapsack. That's an interesting name for that. Definitely helps reduce breakage and flake length. At least for me, it works well. So what is a knapsack? I also really like my knapsack. I mean, the way you spelled it, it was nap-sack. What is that? Definitely helps reduce breakage and flake length. It helps reduce the flake length? I don't think you meant it that way. Adam says, I had a great experience with Georgetown. Cool. Yeah, you got a good piece of Georgetown at the Knapping. Alan says, Patrick, show Adam your small Mike Tuff's bopper that has a replaceable cap, please. I don't have it with me. Or do I? Let's see. Do I have it with me? Okay, yeah, I do. I stash it in my seat because my seat is a bucket. All right, these are the ones that have the replaceable caps. This one I was using at the Knapping, and I ended up this little piece in here that'll pop out. It's no longer glued in there. It'll pop out if I abuse it, which I did abuse it at the Knapping. But I jammed it back in there Can you see, or am I being too spastic for you to see what's going on? It has a screw in the cap. The screw is embedded in the lid. These have held up very well because the force is actually being imparted mostly this way. Like, and it is glancing blows, so you are getting forces across that way, but most of them are into the wood itself. So I'm not getting a lot of side damage like on the other boppers. I'm putting the other boppers away because I'm using the solid copper now. But like on this one here, you can see that this is separating and it's loose. Well, this one isn't, and I get side damage because I'm swinging it. This one I'm not swinging. There is an arc though. This one is also a unscrewable cap. And Mike Tufts makes these. I don't know what that little thingy is called in there. The screw receptor thingamajig, that little chuck in there. That hasn't come out, and I've banged up this one pretty good. I changed the position on my camera. Now I gotta put everything up high. Anyways, so this one has held up pretty good. It's just that this one, I got to re-glue that little thingy inside. Clear as mud? No. I want to see it 500 more times. Oh, sorry. Ralph Snyder says, I beat the crap out of my old homemade lead-filled bopper. Is there anything to melt with the lead to make it tougher? My large old bopper is dented up bad. Yeah, I don't know. That I don't know. Wish I knew. Let's see. Jay says, currently working on New Hampshire rhyolites. Some of it is surprisingly good. I've never encountered a surprisingly good New Hampshire rhyolite. I've been given samples from two different places, and both of them were miserable. Jay, are you working with the pinkish type of New Hampshire rhyolite, or is it another color? Because I work with the pinkish looking stuff, and none of it naps well at all that I encountered. Patrick Trousdale says dacite is too easy to nap and snap and halfish. Oh yes. Yeah. Okay. Roy says, gotcha. Okay. What about obsidian? I'd rather nap stone so I can nap inside. I just kind of want natural knife. I got bored with glass. Yeah. The best stuff to get is hornstone. I don't know where you live, what part of the country you live, Roy, but you need to go to a nap-in. And that way you can find something suitable for a reasonable price. Otherwise, you'll be looking for days, weeks, months, and even years for something good. Mike says he uses antimony for hardener. It's expensive, though. It's $125 for 5 pounds of antimony. Now, that is expensive. Your best bet is to get old bullets. Mike Tuff says your best bet is to get old bullets, especially the muzzleloading ones that are lead. They are much harder. Interesting. Brutus says the knapsack is just a fairly soft leather bag with lead birdshot nearly filled. Okay, it seems to dampen the shock waves that snap a point. I would immediately snap a point on anything that soft. The way I nap, I hit the objects extremely hard. I'm sorry. Any kind of cushion, even when I put it on my knee with a big old thick buffalo, as an example, buffalo hide pad, I hit so hard, I snap it in half on anything that's soft. It's got to be hard. A hard pad, like a round piece of wood, even with a dome on it, so I can hit it as hard as I want without it going like this into the cushion, because it'll go snap right away. I'll snap it within, let's see, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, snap. If I use something soft, that's me. And some guys want to nap like I do, and they're brand new, and they go, "Oh, I got myself a nice big buffalo skin pad. I got my 2 towels on my knee, and I got real soft padded. I got soft legs. Here we go, just like Jack Crafty, really hard. Poof! It broke in half. No, it broke in 6 pieces. What happened? You're not listening. I don't use leg pads for that reason. Also because they're highly uncomfortable and I used to hit myself. But the other reason is I snap stuff on the leg pads or any kind of cushion. Yeah. Okay, so now you know. I'm not saying it doesn't work for you, because different things work for different people. But, don't mess with my pads. I don't mess with yours. Yeah, I'm not going to mess with yours. You do whatever you want. But if you want to nap like I nap with extreme amounts of force and more and more force as it gets smaller and smaller, you're going to snap those points on a cushion. Okay, all right. I'm glad you're asking questions, because that's what I want to do. I want to answer questions. I don't want to be sneaky and trying to get in someone else's conversation. I can, though. I can get in on these little conversations you guys are having. Keith says, Mike, you better make a special bopper for Patrick and name it the Jackhammer after Jack Crafty. Yes. I need a jackhammer. I was using solid copper hammers too. Don Tower, he has solid copper hammers where, this is the hammer. It's got a piece of steel wrapped around it and a steel handle. And these are free to rotate. Somebody sells those online somewhere that he makes them from scratch, I guess, because they rotate within the handle. So you don't get a burr only on one side. It naturally rotates and makes a burr all the way around evenly. Okay. You still get a burr on it, but it's not as bad as getting it only on one side if it's a rigid copper hammer. Anyways, I was using those to spall some really tough stuff, and they worked well. And I was using this particular piece to spall some really tough stuff. And the way I do it, it's all freehand. So I need something that just lasts forever, basically, because, I go through one of these every month. That's a lot of, Mike Tufts is generous enough to send these to me to test them out and stuff. But if I were to buy these, it's a monthly expense. Whereas these might be at most a yearly expense. Depends on how much I use them. I might have to grind these a lot because I'll dent them up pretty badly. I can already see in my future I'm going to dent this one up. This sucker's going to be so dented because I'm going to abuse it to the fullest extent on the rocks I got at the Knapping. And Jim Cooper, I don't think he's in the chat, but I'm going to send him some stuff I'm going to be spalling. And it's going to be spalled with this and some other stuff. I got steel hammers too. Anyways, where am I on the chat? I'm far behind again. Let me see. Hey, Sal's in the house. Tommy Taylor's in the house. Mr. Entrance, I didn't see when you came in. Ed Gould says, Mike, have you ever tried copper pipe and solder? You could put a bopper on both ends. Yeah, they had some of those at the Flint Ridge or the Coshocton Knapping. A guy, filled the whole thing, I think, with lead, or maybe, I don't know. I'm trying to think here. No, the middle copper piece of pipe was not filled with lead. It was just hollow. But the caps had lead, but they were soldered to on both ends of this copper pipe. So the bopper itself was probably as long as this wood, but it had copper caps domed on the ends with a solid copper pipe in the middle. And it was all soldered together. And you could tell he's been using it for a while and it was holding up. I should have bought some, I forgot. Well, I ran out of money too. I was going to buy some copper caps, domed copper caps, because the guy that was selling them for cheap. I couldn't believe how cheap it was, and I forgot to get some. It was like $1.50 for I think a 1-inch cap or an inch and a quarter caps. Cheap stuff. You can't get them for that price at the plumbing supply unless you have a business account. What are you guys talking about? I don't know if I want to get in on some of these conversations. Let's see. Patrick Trousdale says he puts his leather pad on a notebook. What is this you're talking about? Ralph says I got to make room for more recording. Only 2 minutes left for recording. I have to figure out how to put some older videos on a zip drive. You have trouble with video length? Alrighty, let's see. Where am I? No questions? That Ishi pad with an angle was a good idea. What was that? I missed it. Yeah, I'm reading the chat here. I'm trying to figure out if there's a question in there that I can answer. I got plenty of super chats, so I can start napping. Usually, if you're new, I ask for at least one super chat before I start napping. So that's taken care of. The questions, there's been a few. I try to answer the questions also in the first hour. When I start napping, I'm going to completely ignore the chat. Yeah, happy Labor Day. Let's see. Marine epoxy. I need a marine epoxy on the boppers. Maybe so. $7 at the hardware store for those caps. Yeah, I believe it. Let's see. What? Michael Bonnet. Good to meet you, Patrick. Keep it up. Thank you. I'll try to keep it up. Yeah. Well, as a reminder, people with ADHD, they don't like to be reminded to keep it up. They go, now I got to keep it up. Oh my goodness. Mike Tuff says Patrick doesn't watch my videos, so he doesn't know. Yeah, I haven't watched any Mike Tuff videos in a while. I've been slacking. It says, when your kid is not wanting to take a nap, is he resisting arrest? Definitely. You can take that any way you want. Let's see. I wonder if anyone out there casts their own copper caps with a tougher alloy. Like add some arsenic, it will toughen. You could just use steel caps. If you're worried about a hardness issue, use steel for the caps. Yeah, you just screw that. Like I was using steel caps on steel pipes for a while. You just screw in the steel cap, and you grind off those little nubs. And you can grind down the steel cap to make it more domed. If you need something harder than copper, use steel. It's easier than trying to figure out how to make the copper harder. Some people who are new they might go, wait a second, you use steel caps on steel pipes? I didn't see that. Where was it? It's probably around 1,500 video, the video 1,500 or something. I don't know. Look back and see in my old videos, or type in steel tools, Jack Crafty steel tools, I guess. I don't know. Maybe it's hard to find my videos with steel tools in them. That would not be good. Let's see. Adam says, I feel like the whole idea of copper is because it bites. Yeah, but it also is easy to maintain. Like, if steel is harder to file down into a shape or to shape it, copper is much easier. But if you want the easiest, use aluminum. Solid aluminum boppers. You want the easiest bopper in the world? Solid aluminum boppers. And people go, wait a second, I didn't even think of that. And I watched that video 600 times. I didn't think of using a solid aluminum bopper. Dang it. It's your fault, not mine. It's not on me, man. I showed you. Some people said aluminum's not going to work. Aluminum doesn't work. I've heard nappers right next to me that nap and say, yeah, I've seen videos with aluminum. That doesn't work. I don't know what to say. They're watching it work and they say it doesn't work. Oh yeah, the tire weights are made of lead. They were good hardness. Ed Gould says he doesn't get the community page. Yeah, Ed, you're out in the wilderness because the community page or the community is growing and there's people posting all the time on there now. You're missing out. You need to get, one of your grandkids, in 5th grade to teach you. Talking about boppers still. Let's see, what else here? Bagel. I haven't seen you before in the chat. He asks, any tips on dealing with Onondaga? I'm in upstate New York, and that's all I can source locally. I find it both tough and brittle. Well, Onondaga is a mid-range. You'll find half the stuff out there is worse than Onondaga and half of it's better. So you're in good shape, okay? Any tips on dealing with Onondaga? Yes. Keep napping it and nap. Learn to figure out which is the good stuff and nap the good stuff. Yeah. If you can source it locally, go through about 400 pounds of it, which is 5-gallon buckets, right? Each bucket is like 80 pounds full. 5 of those is 400 pounds. Go through 5-gallon buckets of Onondaga, and you should be used to it by then. That's my tip. I don't like that tip. I want the angles. I want the abrasive qualities of the abraders. I want the alloys of the copper. I want the alloys of the aluminum. I don't know where the steel is. Where do I get it from? Is it just mild steel, weldable steel, high grade tensile string steel? You want to know all the particulars, right? Just get a hold of whatever you can get a hold of, because it's not going to help you that much to know exactly what everything is. It's actually going to make your life miserable looking for the specific alloys. Just get what you can get and start napping with it. And if it doesn't work, toss it. Make sure when you toss it, it's a satisfying toss. Like you wind up, this piece of steel didn't nap well at all. really hard into the trash can. Make sure it goes bop, 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 bop. Make sure the trash can is empty and that steel bangs around inside the trash can to make it seem like that was the best throwaway you've ever had. All right? That's how you deal with stuff that doesn't work. And try something else. Let's see. Talking about pennies now. Alan Cole, what is Patrick napping today? I mean, you'll find out later. Alan's too curious. Yeah. If you get too curious, I'm not going to tell you right away. Ralph says, does your phone have an SD card slot? If so, get one of those for plenty more storage. Oh, talking about the Ralph. I see. Okay, so yeah. I don't know. See, I don't know what I was going to nap, right? I showed you that I have this. So I want to nap something from here, Alan. You missed it? You missed it. Okay, I'm going to nap something from this. That's what I'm napping today. Something from this. You missed it. But that's okay. Everyone else probably missed it too. It's in 10 minutes I'll start napping, yeah. And you probably won't be able to see it very well. But I have a second light. I got this one here so that I can see what I'm doing. I got to turn this one back on so that you can see what I'm doing. See that bright light down below? And then I have another light set up here on a stand that so I can see. I'll be napping like this. Now, I'll probably have to scoot this back and forth because if I see how it washes everything out. That's not the right one. I gotta move this one up here. See how it washes everything out? You can't see, but this view, like you can't see the surface of my hands, right? But I can see the surface of my hands perfectly. Yeah, this is how I like to see what's going on. But you can't see it. Okay, but I take this away and I got this light down here right in my eyes, but you can see. But I can't. That's what I got to go through to make these napping videos for you guys. So I'll be alternating back and forth between what you can see and what I can see, and what you can't see and what I can't see. Yeah. What is this? This is my good luck apron. Okay. It brings me good luck. I need good mojo. Yeah. All the help I can get. And if I need to pulverize a point, I'll save it on the side. If the luck didn't work and it breaks and I need to pulverize it, I can save it on the side, take it out back, and I will pulverize it. I just talked to a guy that got really upset about breaking the point in half. I said, just make it turn into powder, dude. It's very, very satisfying and very therapeutic. I know. How do I know? I don't know. Which reminds me, I should probably change the sign into, I don't know. How do I know? I don't know. See, Smallzilla, he's not here, is he? Yeah, Alan Cole says, buckle up, folks. The magic apron is on. Yes, yes. Hey, Bushy's in the house finally. You came in for the napping. Yeah. Okay, so where is the how do I know? I don't know. I don't know. Let's see. Oh, there it is. How do I know? I don't know. Where do I get that from? I started saying that in my videos. People would ask me, how do you know this stuff? And I go, I don't know. Which means I had like a bunch of experience with it. Yeah. I'm talking from experience in many cases. If I'm not talking from experience, I'll let you know. I'll say, well, this is what I've heard. I hate to regurgitate because I make fun of regurgitators or regurgitarians. If I'm just regurgitating information, I'll let you know that it's just something I heard. And I hope that I do that every time. I probably don't. But just be aware that, I might say something wrong. Someone also just commented on one of my videos that they don't like it when I don't explain what I'm doing. I get that comment every once in a while. They don't like it. I don't like it when you don't explain. And I told them the explanation will never be as good as you watching the actual thing happen. The words will never be accurate enough. Besides, I don't always know what I'm doing or why I'm doing it. A lot of it's subconscious, so you got to be in touch with the subconscious, and that requires intense focus and meditation. You've got to be in sync with and know what your subconscious is doing by paying attention to what's happening consciously. You can see what the subconscious is doing, and that also helps your subconscious to absorb what your conscious mind is directing it to do. Okay, so you have to have intense focus. Now, if I'm trying to explain it, there's no intense focus in there. It's all scatterbrained. I don't know how to explain this to people, but explaining it makes it worse. Okay? Not better. Because you're not getting the napping how I normally nap. It takes longer. I mess up. I'll say something that I shouldn't say, either because I'm thinking one thing and saying something else without noticing, or I actually have a wrong idea. I misinterpreted it. It's not the reality. It's something that it seems to be the reality. It seems to be that, but it might be an illusion. I might be looking at what is actually an illusion. Like when you make a flake nice and perfect, the instant illusion or the illusion that comes to your mind instantly is like, I meant to do that. I meant to do that. Your brain says, finally I have mastered it. I meant to do that and it did it. Rather than saying the reality is you got lucky because you can't predict it. It's probabilistic. All the skill is probabilistic. Who we got in the house named Gary? I didn't see. It's almost time for me to start napping. Let's see. KK made a sweet bye face yesterday. I missed it. Yeah, Bushy says, Patrick, Ohio is worth going to. Yeah, I went there. It is worth it. I'm going to go there next year too. Yep. I am going. It's a 10-hour or 11-hour drive. Last night when I came home, it took me 12 hours, but I took a nap in there. So I think I slept for an hour and a half. I drove for 4 hours, and I said, man, I am so sleepy. I got to take a nap. So I think I was out for an hour and a half. And then I successfully drove the rest of the way. So I can do it in one day. If I can do it in one day, it's good. If I have to break it up, I'm not going to do that more than once a year. Or maybe I'll do it once every 2 years. Mike Tuff says, I am steam bending ash for a bow drill. I see. Steam bending is cool stuff. I need to make a steamer where I can steam wood for bows. I don't have one here in Vermont. Adam's leaving the house. Gulf Coast Knapping is here. Howdy. Awesome. Everyone is breaking points, says Ralph. Really? Is there an epidemic of breaking points on the internet now? I mean, you guys are doing the videos. Are you breaking lots of points? Did Tufts make it to the nap-in Coshocton? I didn't see Mike. I did not see him there. Gary Reed watches us on TV. He can't respond. Okay, I get it. Jake AIS in the house? What does that mean? Johnny Waring is here. Hello, hello. Mike Mason, steam ash for 1 hour per inch of thickness as a general starting point. Same for oak. But the ideal time is subjective and depends on factors like the wood density and whether it's air dried or green. Yeah, steam bending seems to work best on green wood, in my opinion. Mike says, Patrick, I'll definitely meet you there next year. I could not make it this weekend. I see. Okay, cool. We'll see you next year for sure. Patrick Trousdale says, I broke one 5 minutes ago. Are you napping on video while you're watching my live stream? That'd be funny to have my live stream narration in the background of someone's video. And then I watch that video. So I'm watching myself watch myself. Let's see. I don't know. See, I'm watching myself while I'm doing the live stream. Make sure everything's centered and people can see. So if I watch the live stream on someone else's video, I'm watching myself watch myself. Yeah. Okay, so the camera's up higher. So you're looking down more, like if you were actually standing next to me. It gives you a little bit different perspective, I suppose. We'll see how this works. All right, so I started on a piece of I think this is a Fort Payne chunk. See? Can you see it? No, that's too bad because that's all you get. This is all the view you get, okay? I can't do no better. I'm low tech. And if I get high tech, it doesn't work. All right, so I'm going to be napping this first off. Last live stream that I started napping this, I said this is too good for me, but I got some really good stuff, so now this is not too good for me. Yeah, I got some good stuff at the Coshocton Napping. I bought it with my own monies and monies that people have been super chatting me. Oh, yes. I used it wisely. I bought a bunch of this. So I'll be napping this Alabama coastal plains, okay? It is in slab form, but, sometimes I don't care. If the material's good, it's good. I can't pass it up. Slab or no slab. What happened to my other glasses? Anyways, let's get this show on the road, get the road on the show. All right, so I think this is Fort Payne. Doesn't matter what it is, it naps well. Yes. I've gotten some stuff that looks like this that was poor grade, and it's miserable. When you think it's good and it ends up being poor grade, it's miserable. It makes you feel miserable. Ah, yes. But it's a little bit of crackiola. You can zoom in and see, right? You can touch the screen. I think you can zoom in on these live streams. This is my computer support. I can't seem to get that out of the way. Wait, hold on. Do this. I can do that. And then I can adjust this. I can start messing with everything. Yeah, okay. I should have thought of that before, huh? So that's what I like to do. I like to do that kind of stuff. See that? Other guys will flick that flake, but I don't flick. I'm not a flake flicker. But I'll show you the butterfly. See, the caterpillar hatches into a butterfly. What are you talking about, dude? You don't see? You don't see on the internet when people do that on YouTube? You haven't seen the flake flicking like that either? Man, I need to get out more. Stop watching my channel so much. Look at other people's channels. Now that's a coast to coast flake. It went all the way across, but it didn't reduce any width. Okay, the width didn't get reduced. So that's a coast to coast. Okay, it's not an overshot. Overshot always reduces width. Got to remember that distinction. At least that's the distinction on this channel. All right, and if you have a question and you asked it when I start napping, it's your fault that I don't answer it because I'm ignoring the chat. Okay? And you might say, I can see you, the results too, but I can't see the angles from this angle. You're messing with the angles at this angle. I'm trying my best, okay? I can't always show every angle. Okay. And I'm using a new tool now too. This is solid copper. This is not going to break or bend or act stupid. Okay? All right. Are you saying that the tools you had before are acting stupid? Now I'm all confused. I don't know what tool to use. I just bought a bunch of boppers and now you switch. You're driving me nuts, man. Really? How badly am I driving you nuts? Because I want to be really good at driving you nuts. I'm not going to settle for second best. I want to be the best at driving you nuts. Yep. Okay? So how good am I doing? Oh, I hear about it sometimes. Oh, yes. I'm very good at driving some people nuts. Yep. That's the way to be, though, right? You got to be the best you can be. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, but you're not supposed to be good at doing bad things. Yeah, well, they don't. When they give you advice, do they say, "Oh, it doesn't pertain to bad things"? Okay. Yeah, you're supposed to assume that, but it doesn't stick in your brain that way. Your brain doesn't assume everything. It kind of sticks in there in a certain way. The brain tries to keep it simple without all these caveats and exceptions. Be the best you can be at everything. Okay, well, I'm going to be the best at annoying people. That's what the subconscious says. It's not my fault. Dude, why can't you just be serious for 1 second, man? I can be serious for 1 second, but then I get bored. Really? No. I don't get bored about being serious. No. I goof around because it's more enjoyable. Yeah. It's not because I get bored. It's because it's more fun to goof around. Yeah. The humor is a cure for depression. Yeah. Otherwise, I get thoughts of doom and gloom for no reason. Yeah. I don't know what it is. Just out of the blue. Oh, man, I remember when that happened. That terrible thing happened. Dang it, I remember that. And why does my brain remember stuff like that all of a sudden? I don't know. It happens a lot when I'm driving. I think about things that, oh, man, I remember that terrible thing that happened. Man, what made me think about that? I don't know. Okay, let me look at. I got a question. I just noticed I had a question. Johnny Waring says, "Do you like the copper billet better than the aluminum?" No, I don't. So far, I don't like this better than the aluminum. I love the aluminum. Yeah, the aluminum and I have an agreement. We broke up, but I will take it back. I usually don't ever take back. I don't do take backs. Okay? But with the aluminum, I make an exception. I'll take aluminum back any day. When I start using it sometimes, oh man, I want to go back. But I need to explore other avenues. Okay? I do. I need to ramble. Anyway, yeah, I don't like it better than the aluminum. Short answer. Brutus says, I'm nuts, but someone else drove me. Yeah, likely excuse. All right. Yeah, everyone can. Okay, Sal, speak your mind because I'm not watching the chat. You can say anything you want. Yeah, you wanna you wanna blow up the chat with all kinds of weird conversations and stuff that would make my ears start burning. Go right ahead. I don't know if Michael's in the house. Red Eyed Patriot. I think he's in the house. He'll take care of all the trolls and Fruit Loops. Uh, I'm not sure he's in the house, but uh, if there's a troll in there, just let me know. I'll boot him. If it's just a baby troll, I'm not worried about that. But if it's a Fruit Loop, I'll boot him out of the chat. Uh, okay, so I'll be napping here. I uploaded a steamer to the community channel for Patrick. Okay, good. You uploaded the steamer so I can see how you did it, how you made it. Alrighty. Beautiful. So what am I doing? Okay, I completed the first stage. To me, this is the first stage. See how thick the middle is compared to the ends? See? See? Some guys will be like this, so to speak, at this stage. No, you're not supposed to be, completely the same all the way across. It's supposed to be thick in the middle. Okay? Why? Because it snaps in half less like this. How do I know? I don't know. From experience? I'm trying to impart some experience with some of these things I'm telling you. Yeah. Okay? I notice beginners, they don't do this. They don't thin the ends down first. They thin the middle down first, and then they work on the ends. Why do they do that? I don't know. I think I might have done that too. It seems to be easier to remove flakes from the middle because they just kind of it kind of feels good too to get a long flake. You're like, that was good. But if I work on the ends, I just get little bitty crud flakes, and they're not satisfying. They're not full length. I need fullness and satisfaction into my soul. Don't be looking at Flintknapping as something that is, going to be penetrating into your soul, so to speak. Yeah, don't be looking at it like that because you'll be looking for a long time. It's not one of those kind of hobbies. No, you need something. If you want something that's deep, you need to get into a hobby that's a little bit more satisfying than Flintknapping. In my view, okay, so that you're not all trying to find the meaning of life through this kind of activity. Yeah, so to speak. This is so you can learn how to make useful items from rocks. Yeah, it's an amazing thing. You can make weapons from rocks. It comes in handy. When does it come in handy? I don't know, when you're camping, I guess. Okay, what are we doing now? We pitched the tent, we cooked the food, we went fishing, we went kayaking. Now what do we do? Let's look for rocks and make arrowheads. Wait a minute, you can do that? Yeah. Wait, I don't know how to do that. Well, you didn't practice napping. I only practice stuff that is food for my soul. Yeah, you got to branch out, dude. You got to participate in things that, it's almost like magic. You can turn a piece of rock into a nice thing, actually. It's more than just a weapon. It can be considered an art, a piece of art. Yeah. That might be satisfying for you, but I wouldn't try to depend on that. This is just a cool skill to have. Yeah. And it allows you also to get together with other people and do the same thing and share ideas because it's a challenging skill that requires a lot of practice. And if you're around people that are also nappers, they can give you support, either physical tutoring or mental support by just being there and say, yeah, we went through the same thing. We understand. We get it. It's a matter of training yourself to do something by performing the same thing over and over again until you get different results. Yes, I know that society calls that insanity, but we're here to support you and yada yada yada. Finally, you'll get it, and it'll be a skill that you want to actually try to pass on because it's cool. Yeah, I think it's cool. Anyways, it does give you some insights into reality, learning a probabilistic skill, because it's different from other skills. This skill requires risk management, prioritizing, to name two very important concepts, and also resource management, the best use of tools, and not just the tools, but the tool stone. You have to keep an eye on efficiency, and you learn how your subconscious works with your conscious mind. You learn various things by practicing a skill that's probabilistic that you don't really learn with other skills. Other skills are mechanical. There's very little risk involved. You just do a procedure or follow a recipe, and it'll come out the way it's supposed to. If you follow the instructions in the recipe. But with Flintknapping, you follow the instructions, and it's like, wait a second, I followed the instructions exactly, but I broke it in half for the first time. I couldn't notch it the second time. The third time, a tip broke off. The fourth time, I dropped the whole thing, and it broke. It wasn't even a napping mistake. I mean, what in the wide, wide world of Flintknapping is going on here? Yeah. There you go. It's not like other skills. It teaches you different things. Makes it kind of interesting. All right, so at this stage, it's getting to the preform stage where it's starting to look like something. It might not look like it to you, but I can make a rounded base, corner notched, pretty easily from this shape. This is my default shape no matter what. But at this stage, I got to figure out, am I going to keep it that thin or make it thinner? Is it flat enough or is it too lumpy? Are there still lumps that need to be flattened? Or if I try to flatten them, I'll mess it up. This is a stage where I think it's critical to actually put in some conscious thought. Whereas before, up to this point, your subconscious takes over a lot of this to get you to this point. But from here, it really matters where you go. The tolerances for each flake are very narrow, and if you exceed the tolerances, you'll mess up the flake. As it gets thinner and thinner, it gets harder and harder to produce the type of flake you want because you don't have much room for error. All right, a slight deviation in the angle with something thin messes it up so easily. Whereas if it's thicker, you've got room. If you make a mistake and cut in too much, scoop it too much, or you make just a little flake, it doesn't matter when it's still thick. When it's thin, if you take off a small little flake, it pushes the edge up a lot. Whereas as an example, on a big thick point, pushing off a little flake doesn't influence the edge that much. It doesn't push it to the other side. But a little flake on this messes up the whole edge because unless you want it. If you don't want that flake, it messes up the edge and raises it. So now you can't flake on that same spot again. You see what I'm saying? As it gets thinner, your options get more and more confined, and you become more constrained. And the chances of breaking it go up. So there's this thing that goes on that requires a lot of experience to analyze what you need to do. And there's different ways of going about it. Okay? This is the stage where I call it the sweat stage, from here to the finish, or almost to the finish. The final sharpening is not a big deal. It's for a stress. But from here to the final sharpening, that stage between this and the final sharpening is a sweat stage. I want to emphasize that over and over and over again because it is important. It's very important. Some guys will say, I'm just going to get a big old piece of stone. And just by thinking about it, if I get a big old biface, I should be able to get something out of it. Even if it's a little thing. That won't get you anywhere, that mentality. As it gets smaller and thinner, it's a whole different ball game. And a small, thin, short point is a different ball game than a thin, big point. Okay? If you're going for a big point, and then you end up with little pieces, and then you think, well, I'm just going to go for a small point, you've got to make a major mental shift. And if you're not conscious of that, you're just going to approach everything in the same way. Well, I'm just going to start and see what happens, and I'll try to get something small out of it. And you'll keep going with that mentality, and you'll just keep doing the same old stuff. You'll start with something big, and you'll get something small that you don't like. Because you don't understand that there's different mindsets for these different sizes and thicknesses of pieces. Okay? All right. Anyways, just for you guys that are new, I watched a bunch of new guys at the Knapping, and I walked around and I was watching people. And not much is talked about as far as different stages of Knapping. But the different stages, they are important. Just want you to be aware. Okay? All right. All right. I'm going to be thinning this down. So maybe I won't be chatting all that much. This is very cooperative material. So that means that when I try to do something, it actually lets me do it. I don't know. Can you see? Maybe you can see. This helps me to see. Maybe you can see also. If I can see better, I can nap better. And if I can nap better, it'll satisfy me. And my soul will be happy. Right? I wish. Still a sweat stage. This is work. Yeah. This is not like watching a awesome movie. This is work. For me. Now, maybe some guys when they're napping, it's like they're watching this cool action flick. That's not how it is with me. I mean, it can be if I'm doing something easy. Yeah, it can be an action flick. So it's easy peasy. Yeah. But if it's difficult, like trying to explain this and make sure it's visible in the video, and try to pay attention to various things at the same time. Multitask. That's what I was looking for. When I try to multitask and do this, it's not fun. All right. I messed it up a little bit by thinking that I could run some flakes across past the middle, and they did, but they got kind of steppy. Dang it. I managed to get the step fractures out by hitting from both ends, but it still looks kind of steppy, even though they're very shallow step fractures. It can make it look sloppy. It's not bad right now. But step fractures, yeah, they don't look that great. They don't hurt the point as far as function very much. They just don't look good. So when I'm trying to get rid of step fractures, the small ones, it's just for looks. I know that's probably pretty obvious, but just to make sure. A lot of artifacts have step fractures on them because it doesn't really matter according to function. It's not because they like the way the step fractures looked. So there's a balance between what's good enough and what what am I trying to say? There's this there's no need for it to look perfect in order to be a perfect functioning tool. Yeah. All right. And Dawn gave me some more abraders. This is the tough stuff that I can use it to hammerstone the stone with it. I can hammerstone the workpiece with the abrader. And what I mean is I can hit the workpiece with the abrader because it's tough enough to withstand me abusing it like that. And it makes everything faster. And it's a good thing when I'm trying to explain stuff that it's slowing me down. So I might as well have at least something to speed things up to kind of compensate. Yeah. But I still need the file. The file makes such a nice dullness. But it wears out the files fast. So I gotta use it sparingly. I used to not use files, but now I use files for everything. The edges, for stalled notches, whatever I can use it for, I will use a file because files are great. Yep. I don't have no hate. Files are great. I have no hate for the files. You might hate files. That's fine. Just don't be hating on my files because I like them. Okay, their feelings get hurt. Yeah, believe it or not. Shouldn't matter if feelings get hurt. I thought you knew that. Yeah, I know. But they're just files. It's little innocent files. Look at it. It hadn't done nothing to you. It's not evil at all. I mean, it has good intentions from the beginning to end. It's pure. So, yeah, if it hurts its feelings, yeah, it's you know, I got sympathy. Dude, I think you like you better when you're not talking. Yeah. So half the people like it better when I don't talk, and half the other people hate it. I don't know what to do, except do a little bit of both. Yeah. I don't have to do one or the other. I can do both. And people that don't like the silent or no talk videos, they'll tell me, I don't like it. And people that don't like me talking will tell me, I don't like it. I just got to live with it. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yep. That's it. Me and my files, we just got to deal with it. Yeah. The files deal with it pretty good. You can barely tell that their feelings are hurt. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Anyways, let's see what we got here. We're getting to the point where I don't want to thin it anymore because this is such nice material, actually. Yeah. What I'm trying to do is just trying to run some easy flakes, but it's not that easy to run so-called easy flakes. I'm trying to go past the center, but it's not really working. I've got to really start focusing on exactly where the best spots are in order to run it past the center, because I'm not running past the center very often on these last strikes, which is not good because then it ends up creating an island in the middle. So I've got to think very carefully about where the best opportunities are, and if there isn't an opportunity, maybe I have to create one by adjusting the edge very specifically for that one strike, and that's all I get is that one strike. If you make the edge perfect for a one strike and you mess it up, you've already messed up the whole edge because you're taking back the whole edge just to make a spot for one strike. I don't know how to explain it clearly, but if you're sculpting the edge here and there for different precise strikes, it's wearing back the edge a lot. Uh, Compared to what I do, I just take away the delicate areas and I look at the whole edge as an opportunity instead of little spots that I created. By just removing the delicate areas and seeing what results, what I'm doing is I'm looking at the whole edge for opportunities. And if it's still not dull enough, I'll make it dull. Still not dull enough, I'll make it even more dull. And it still doesn't look like a good opportunity, maybe I'll just try to trim it up and fashion a good striking area. But it's the last resort. Yeah. Some guys, the first thing they do is they make specific areas for each strike, sculpt specific areas for each strike. Not me. That's my last resort. I will do it, but it's the last resort. The first result is the opportunities. The first resort is the opportunities. Is it a good opportunity? It is. Take it. I'll take it. I'm not going to wait for myself to create a special striking spot. All right, so I did create a special striking spot for that because that's my last chance. Well, it's not my last chance. I got to try to make this a good hit. Oh, I think. Okay, I got to keep. See, if I go close to the camera, can you see? And there's a continuation. I struck that flake really hard and it worked. But it's a little divey. So now I got to try to remove that dive. It went as far as I thought it would go, but it was a little bit too divey. I can't get the stupid lighting. Anyway, hopefully you can see it from here better. I don't know. But yeah, that flake went as far as I wanted it to go, but it dove in, so it looks actually even worse than it did before. I've got to remove some material from this side and then look at it, see how it looks after. See if I can fix it. All right. But yeah, all you get is one shot because there's no more areas where I can hit now that I've ruined that edge there for that one shot. Luckily, that one shot went as far as I thought it was going to go. It doesn't always go where I think it's going to go. You're like that. See, I created a land bridge. Oh, this is going to drive me nuts. I created a land bridge. I thought that flake would be easy, but no. It stopped. I call that a land bridge. When there's back to back, when there's two step fractures, one on each side of that bridge. Can't see it. Let me see. Can you see that? There's a step fracture right there. And then one on the other side. That's a land bridge. You can cross a land bridge and get into the new world. Yeah. A new world of misery. All right, so that worked. I just moved over a little bit, popped it out with a different flake. Cool. Come on. Come on. Yes, like that. See, I told you. I keep telling these flakes that they shouldn't be so shy. I try to nudge them in the right direction, and they're like, no, I don't want to. I don't want to go. Yeah, just do it. But I don't know. It's uncharted territory. I've been here before. Just do it. But I don't know. The flakes don't like it. It doesn't want to be an arrowhead. Let's put it that way, right? I always say that. The stone doesn't want to be an arrowhead. But yeah, you got to push it along. It's not that bad. Come on, man. Yeah, it might hurt a little bit. But no pain, no gain, right? Remember that one? Yeah, they used to say that in the 80s and stuff. That's an old expression. We don't say that no more. Yeah. What do they say nowadays? I don't even know. No pain means perfect. Probably that's what they say. No pain is perfect. Mm-hmm. No one wants to experience any pain these days. All right. Not even for some good. Nope. You can have something good without pain. You can have both. No pain and good stuff. Yeah, well, that's very rare. Just saying. You're acting like a stone that doesn't want to be an arrowhead. Seems to be everybody these days. Where am I? I'm going to stop at 7:45 Eastern time. I got to remember, I got an auction still going on. So what does that look like in the final analysis? In the final analysis, I still have the ending of that flake looking like a scoop out, sort of, but it's not too bad. Yeah, I think it looks worse cosmetically than it did before, but it's thinner. Yeah, that part's good. Yeah, it's thinner. I wanted it to be thinner anyway. Yep, yep, yep. hmm That's why I did that flake, because I could see that it could have been thinned down. But now I'm getting to the point where it's going to be foolish to try to thin it further. Yeah. So I'm just going to be removing little flakes where I see lumpy spots along the edge. And then I'll sharpen it. Yeah. Am I going to put notches in it? No. A lot of people have trouble with notches, but notches, if I want to show you how I do it, it's going to require a close up view. This is already driving me nuts trying to show you how to do it. Trying to use the different lighting at the different distances from the camera. There is light up here next to the camera, but it's a different kind of lighting. See, my hand shows up perfectly when I'm doing a test. I go, oh yeah, I can see my hand perfect. But then I put a piece of rock. I can't see diddly squat. What's up with this? Hand, perfect. Rock, I can't see nothing. Nope, nothing. And down here, it's too far away. I can't even see it. And I got my glasses on. Yeah, I can't see it. I can't zoom in with the touch and zzz, and then I can't do that. So I don't know what to do. Believe me, I look at different options, just like when I look at different options of Flintknapping. I look at different options of lighting and videoing, and it drives me nuts. Yeah. Anyways, I'll stop here. I'll get back into the chat because right now I feel like if I continue, I'm going to mess this up. I like the way it looks, even though it's kind of rough. I like it. Yeah. I like this material too. I recommend this type of material for beginners. I know it's going to show up a lot of error. It's going to show a lot of errors, but that's good. Beginner material has to be not too expensive, and it'll actually cooperate. It'll do flakes in a way that is not, oh man, how did that ever happen? They're kind of predictable. You can't predict all flakes. In fact, trying to predict them is when you make mistakes. But you can direct flakes and it'll cooperate. It'll go basically in the direction you want with a material like this. And it helps you increase your skill as a beginner without undue stress of having to deal with other factors like easily snap and halfish type stuff or crushed edges, or if you drop it by accident, it breaks really easy, that kind of thing. All right. So I recommend this type of hornstone for beginners. Yeah. If you want to know. Where do you get hornstone? Where's the best hornstone? Where's the best seller? The best hornstone at the best prices. And like I said at the beginning, maybe you missed it. You could only get 2 out of those 3. Okay? You cannot get the best hornstone from the best seller at the best price. You can only get 2 out of those 3 at the most. Okay? Just letting you know. I know it's rough. It's miserable to know the truth. Yeah, I know. Believe me. I was there. I was going to quit flint napping and just make bone arrowheads. I think I've told that story before. There was a time where I said, you know what? That's it. No more flint napping. I'm just going to make bone and antler arrowheads. That's it, because they're so easy. Comparison. There's no risk. The only risk is if my dog finds one and sneaks off with it because he loves to chew on them. That's it. That's it. Bone arrowheads and antler arrowheads. The only risk is the dog finding one and walking off with it. Yeah, pretty much. That's it. Dang. Or maybe the weather changing and it gets really dry and one of your arrowheads cracks because it was too dry outside, or you left it in a spot that got super hot and it cracked because it was super hot. But, that's not you doing it. That's just outside conditions that you can't control. Okay. Where am I? Here I am. Okay. Where do we got? You want to see it one more time? I want to see it one more time. See if this is a better view. No. See, I can see my hand perfectly when I do my tests on my lighting, but when I do this, can't see squat. If I hold it at a certain angle, if I hold it in front of my face, that sometimes works. Yeah, okay, there it goes. I like it. So I'm going to stop there. I like the thinness. What's the ratio on it? Funny you should ask. I was just thinking about the same thing. Dang it. Must be reading each other's minds here. Okay. All right, so we're going to do this in millimeters, right? 45 millimeters. 45 millimeter. Yes, perfectly 45 millimeter by, you got to trust me on this one. It's going to be 6 millimeter thick. Can I do it? Is it going to be readable? Okay, turn this way. Just trust me, it's 6 by 45, 7-1. Perfect. Anything 6-1 or better is perfect. What's this ratio on the cast? That's probably 7-1 too, right? Let me just check. Oh, let's see. It's 50. I'm going to go right at this, not across the barbs, but right in the middle. It's like 52. Yeah, 52, let's say. Right across the middle there. And then the thickness right there at that is 8 millimeter. What's 8 in the 52? A little bit better than 6-1? Because 6 times 8 is 48. It's better than 6-1, but it's not quite 7-1, because 56 would be 7-1. Okay, so let's just say 7-1. We're giving the benefit of the doubt. That's this one here. The cast of a real one that's excellently made. 7-1. It's not no 12-1 or 14-1 like some people want, or some people brag about. I can do better than that. 7-1. 7-1s. I can do 7-1 in my sleep. I think dreaming about nightmares. I can still do 7-1. Heck. Yeah, well, the artifact is not worried about this. It's happy with 7-1. All right. Jim Cooper's here. Hey, Patrick, how was the napping? It was good, and I've got stone for you. I'll show it in a different video. I'm going to ship you out some stone. Texas rocks. Yes. My city stocks the local lakes with trout. Okay, talking about trout. All right. Okay, what else is in here? I'm looking for questions. You guys can continue to talk about other stuff. Let's see. Ferdo Joe says if Patrick ever decides to stop napping, all of us here will vote if he can quit. Okay. I think what happens is some of these super chats show up again when someone likes it. Yeah. If someone hits the like button on a super chat, it pops up into the front again. Ken says, very nice work. Thank you. Thank you. I'll take all the compliments I can get. So, yeah, I've got, see, my friend Dawn that I thought I was going to be seeing in October, I actually saw at the Knapping in Flint or Coshocton, the Flint Ridge Knapping at Coshocton now. It used to be called the Flint Ridge Knapping, but I think a lot of the guys still call it that. But yeah, I thought I was not going to see my friend until October, but he was there and he brought lots of rocks with him, so I'll be able to send you some sooner than I thought. Jim says, cool, sounds great, man. It'll be a while yet before I can use it. Still have a few weeks of recovery left. Alrighty. Cool. It'll give me some time. That way I can practice up on spalling a little bit. Alrighty, so talking about fish hooks. Yeah. Back in the day, most fish hooks were made from bone for sure. Or wood. You can make wooden fish hooks too. Except wood gets soft in water sometimes. It doesn't maintain a good point in water for the sharp end of the hook. How do I know? I don't know. Talking about trade networks. Mike Mason says, I don't know if I listened to it on autoplay into another video about the Cahokia mounds or if they were connected, but that part can really make one appreciate the vast trade network that disappeared. I see. You guys are funny in the chat. So Mike Mason says he zoomed in for a good view and it looks okay. All right, good. Use the cheater tool, says Greg Evans. Yeah, it's called the Nacho-matic. Sometimes it works really well, but you got to use it only in special situations where you know that the flake has a very small chance of diving in when you strike the face of that step fracture. A lot of times, the tool is not going to be at the correct angle to pop the flake out because you can hit the front of a step fracture and pop a flake out. You get rid of the step fracture. Camera's up there. Hey. Anyway, the Nacho-matic is not a go-to first option. It's one of the last options. Yeah. Especially in a tricky situation where the step fracture is in a low spot. If the flake dove and then stepped, it's in a low spot. The Nacho-matic's not going to be able to get in there very well. If you are hitting uphill and it's step fractured, that's a better situation for the Nacho-matic because of the angle. The angle is not inward as much when you're trying to punch that flake out. The more inward that flake is, the better the chance is for diving, which is not good. Ed Gould, $2 on a budget skunk food. Yes, it still helps. Thanks, Ed. Ferdo Joe or Bushy says, I napped one over I never one ever Obsidian made a necklace out of it. Still have one. If one wants it, I don't get it. Okay, anyway. Southern Illinois Adventures is here. Hello. It's almost over. We got like 6 minutes left. I'm glad you can make it within the last 6 minutes instead of waiting until after the live stream's over. But I'll wait a little bit longer. I'll wait till after the hour to see if anyone else shows up, because some people show up right after the end of the live stream and say, "Hey, I'm here finally. What's up, guys? I'm ready to sit down for 2 hours." No, we just missed it. Let's see. Alan wants an encore, a napping encore, like napping something else. Yeah, I gotta after the live stream, I gotta wash my eyes with cold water because after this, with these lights in my face, my eyes are burning. Yeah, that's better. Let's see. Talking about fish hooks still. Oh, it was an obsidian fish hook, says Bushy. I napped it. Looks good. Never sold it. I see. Well, it's okay. Greg Evans, I think it would have worked for the land bridge. Yeah, I think you're right. That angle wasn't too bad. With the short flake, if I had hit the short flake, it could have probably eliminated the land bridge. It's right here, actually. Let's move the finger that way. So on this side, let's see. Let's switch hands here. This is the flake that caused the land bridge, but I used the flake down below it to blow that away. So you still have what looks kind of like a land bridge, but there's no step fracturing because this lower flake blew away a lot of this material. And then I blew away some of it from above here too. But yeah, I could have probably put the Natromatic at that first step fracture and then popped that out. But still, the angle is kind of flat. See how flat it is, the whole piece? Putting the Natromatic in such a flat angle will make the flake dive in. So I could have, instead of popping that land bridge off, I could have had another dive. It might have popped it out, but it could have dived even worse than on this side. It could have dived worse on this side than this side. And I would have a gully in there instead of a partial land bridge. I'd rather have a partial land bridge than a gully down in there. Oh, can't see. Yeah, it's a partial land bridge. Now I've got some Clovises I need to make out of black material. This isn't totally black, so I've got now material that I can use for projects that I'm requiring black material, especially the Kashoktan. I'm going to be using that for some of my projects coming up. This is also a land bridge on the other side. Yeah, see that one? I don't know what I'm going to do about that. I might be able to pick that out. That land bridge might be able to be pickable. Yeah. So there's a step on each side there. Anyways, that's what happens when you try to thin down a thin piece. It's hard to predict exactly what's going to happen. You can never predict. And if you get a clean, flat piece, consider yourself lucky because that's what it is. It's mostly luck. South Illinois Adventure says it has been years. What did I miss? Let's see. Okay, talking about bow fishing too. The best fish bait is a third of a stick of dynamite, said Mac Bales. Mac Bales, you said hi to me at the Coshocton Knapping. Did you? I'm trying to remember your face. I can't seem to remember your face. I'm not sure if you introduced yourself as Mac Bales or not. Let me see. I met at least 30 people at the Knapping. Well, let's say 20. 30 might be a stretch. Although I met new people that I had never heard of before. Virginia Flint Nappers here. Have you decided what to put in the new frame you bought at the Knapping? No. No. I bought a frame at the Knapping. I haven't decided what I'm doing now is just putting the auction points in there. Yeah, so they don't break. So I guess that's it. I guess that's what I can use it for, is to put the auction points in there. And then it's empty every week. So I got to fill it every week. So that's not a bad deal. I might just do that. But I wanted to buy that case because it's very sturdy. It's a very sturdy case. Let's see. Turn that light off. Noah Merritt says, I enjoy spearfishing even more, to be honest. Spearfishing sounds cool. I need to try that. All right, I'm going to call it a night. It's 8:01. I'll wait a few more minutes. Hey, Carl Ritchie is here, also known as DuPont Pioneers. Let's see. We have 39 people watching, which is quite a bit, actually, for the end of the live stream. Usually it tapers down to 20 some odd. I'm going to call it a night. I'm going to end the live stream here very soon. It's already past 8. If you do have a question at the last second, go ahead and ask. Oh, I got to change the address on the Coshocton Knapping because it's on 7th Street. And I had something like it was on Vine Street, or I don't know what it was. When I first put in the coordinates in the GPS, not coordinates, but the address into the GPS, it took me to just a house in the neighborhood. So I need to see if the address is correct on my Knapping list. Hold on a second. And you guys let me know if it messed you up or anything. Okay, so Ohio. Okay, it does say 7th Street, but my GPS took me to another street. All right, 724 South 7th. It sounds correct. I guess my GPS wasn't working well. All right, that sounds correct. Yeah, okay. I was worried for a second there. They have that Knapping in the spring and the fall. Okay, all right, guys. I'm going to say good night. And yeah, good luck, bidders. The auction video has been posted. I'm going to close it out in about 57 minutes at 9 p.m. Eastern. If Patrick is ending, it wasn't great to see everybody. Patrick does owe us an extra stream since he wasn't live on Friday or Saturday. Jim Cooper says, see you later, Patrick. Probably Friday, as Wednesdays are busy for me. All righty. Yeah, I'm going to have a live stream Wednesday for sure. I'm going to be here. Yeah, post the fishing stuff on the community page or on the community in the channel. Ken says, cheers, guys. See you Wednesday. Yep. All right, we'll see everybody on Wednesday. Hopefully. And I will have a live stream on Friday until I go to the next nap, and then probably not on Fridays. when I'm away. Okay? All right. Good to see everybody. Have a good night. Bye-bye.